Been a while, but we're back again with the Daddy brand, in my opinion. Today's episode of Scotty Cigars is the Cohiba Especiales. So basically, the Especiales is from the classic range of Cohiba cigars. It's not a Siglo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, also just to 6, but it's from the classic range. It is apparently fermented. All the classic range cigars are flavoured and fermented at, I think, an extra time. I think it's 3 times. Someone can comment and let me know whether it is. And I think the Siglo range is fermented. The leaves are fermented twice or something like that. So you actually do get a little bit more of that Cohiba flavour from a cigar in the classic range, and it does taste different. It's just a whole nother league of Cohiba flavour when you go to the classic range. The Especiales is a 38 ring gauge, so it's a little bit smaller than the Siglo 2, and this is 6 inches long, which I think is 152 or 158 millimeters. So it's a decent long cigar. It's often been described as a cigar for a female. God knows why, because I love these, and I think they're great. The only time I wouldn't recommend it is when it's a little bit windy, because the smaller ring gauge just it requires a lot more attention than a larger ring gauge. It's just going to hold a light much better. But yeah, it's nice and supple. This is from a box from March 2012. So we are talking 6.5 years ago now. So it's got some age. It could be an aged cigar almost, I think. I don't know what qualifies for an aged cigar. Again, comment underneath and let me know. But yeah, let's get going on this. I suppose it smells traditionally Cohiba. There's a bit of less fragrance from this one compared to what you tend to get from a Cohiba. It could just be this particular one. I've got a whole other bunch in the humidor, so they're no different. Veins very small. I don't know if you can see, very small veins. A lovely light coloured brown on the wrapper, and a pigtail at the end. Look at that pigtail. See the pigtail? That's just the way that they finish the cap off on a Especiales. It's a nice little touch. Anyway, I'll get this lit and we can get going. So I should apologise for being away for so long from the screen. It's partly because it got very cold over the winter, and I kind of stopped smoking cigars, so I went on to, I stopped for a while, purely because I just wasn't enjoying the freezing cold, and I didn't want to come back and start doing the Scotty cigars until I'd had a few ranges again, different types of cigar, got back into it a little bit more, so I can give you an honest opinion. Coming straight back in smoking cigars and doing a review is not wise. You need to have a little bit of a catalogue and a background of what's what. Again, it's not a case of just jumping straight in and starting to review one. My lighter, probably a little bit strong for something so small on the ring gauge. I should have turned it down. So straight away, it's like, I mean, it's advertised as a medium to full. I think depending on the person, depending on the cigar, it could be medium to full to just a full-bodied cigar, because it isn't a slouch. This is what confuses me when they say it's ideal for women. It's not necessarily ideal for women, because they tend to require or prefer, depending on the woman, something a little bit lighter, because they're not necessarily massive cigar smokers. If they're going to have a cigar, it's more a one-off. You wouldn't really want to give this to anyone who isn't familiar with cigars. talking full-bodied and we're talking strong. I'm going to get into this a little bit, and I will come back to you when we've given it a decent try. So approximately, probably more than a third, not quite halfway through the cigar, it's apparent it's a strong cigar. For what it is, you'd never expect it to be as powerful. It reminds me, oh, what's that? There's a small Patagas. I think it's a similar. I think it's a Petite Corona Patagas. There is a similar ring gauge, and that thing is strong. It fools you because it's probably only 100 mil long or whatever, 4 inches, but it fools you into thinking it's like a small cigar, nothing major. You light that up and bang, just get hit with it. This is a similar. It's not as strong as that Patagas. That is a strong cigar, but this is. It's hard to explain. It's so smooth. It's the same smoothness that you get from all other Cohibas. In all honesty, I don't know whether it's been fermented or whatever, but the roll is brilliant. I did have to correct it slightly at one point. It's because we're outside. It's quite breezy. And that always tends to have an effect on my cigars and the way they burn. It's like you wouldn't take this to the beach, or I wouldn't. You know, I may be wrong, but over the years I've been smoking cigars, I wouldn't take a small ring gauge to the beach or try it in a windy environment. It just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it's very spicy. It's smooth, spicy, with a hint of sweetness, not an awful lot of sweetness though, to be honest with you. It's not as spicy as a Robusto. This is kind of, it's more woody than a Robusto, but there's no nuttiness in it whatsoever. It's not like a Bolivar, which to me is just really nutty, or a Hoyo de Monterrey, which is just almonds through and through. So yeah, it's nice, it's strong, it's certainly not for a beginner. I'd say it's not for a beginner. So if you're thinking of trying cigars, maybe go to the Siglo range first, and try the Siglo 2, like I've mentioned in a previous review. But yeah, it's going down nicely, and I will catch up with you towards the end when I've got a bit more feedback from it. So I knocked being outside on the head because of the wind. It was affecting the cigar. It started to, I don't know why, it started to dilute the taste of the cigar, and take away some of the finer flavours from it, which is a little bit weird. But I do find that on a beach as well, unless I've got a strong cigar outside, I find it hard to pick the flavours up. So coming in you can't beat a good old shed. Coming in here just seems to have refined the cigar up a little bit more, made it a little bit tastier. And to be honest with you, we're pretty much at the end now, so I can rate this cigar out of 10. I would say I've had better Cohiba Especiales in the past. Probably not the best one. Could have been because I was sat in the wind outside. It started to get pretty chilly out there as well, which is typical of Britain and England. But yeah, good cigar. I'd say an 8 out of 10. I've had 9.5 out of 10 Cohiba Especiales, and they are really good. Inside they are faultless. Inside they are faultless. I can think of probably not many cigars I'd prefer to smoke inside that would beat a Cohiba Especiales. I think the price at the moment is about 25 quid each for one. That would be without a tube. I think it'd be 27, 28 quid in an aluminium tube. But like I said earlier, not a beginner's cigar. I wouldn't give this to my mate and say, hey, I'll try a cigar, try one of these. One, it's too expensive to try if you're not into it and throw that amount of money at it. And two, gone out now. 2, it's just too strong for a beginner. So this is what I mean. This is why it's an 8 out of 10. These small ring gauges, as nice as they are to hold, and as nice as they are to get you don't have to have a big gob around it. You can just relax with a smaller ring gauge. It's just less hassle, but the hassle comes from keeping it alight. So 6 to 1, half dozen the other. If you're going to smoke a small ring gauge, don't do it outside, do it inside. 8 out of 10 for this cigar. I'm going to relight it. I'm going to carry on because it is nice. And if you're into cigars and you've not tried one, try and get your hand on one. There wasn't, or you could not get these very freely in the UK about 12 months ago. So I was lucky enough to get a 2012 box abroad, which I tend to get all of my cigars from the Casa de Habana abroad, where you know that they are real and not fake. And yeah, if you get a chance, try one. I'd warm up to the Especiales if you're not that familiar with cigars. As always, if you enjoyed that 5th cigar review of the Cohiba Especiales, click the subscribe button and I'll keep reviewing. If you would like me to do anything in particular or try something in particular, please let me know in the comments below and I'll see if I can do that. Remember, these are my personal opinions on the cigars, so you may have a different experience. Yours may be better, it may be worse, but yeah, in the meantime, enjoy your cigars and give that Cohiba Especiales a chance because it is a good cigar. Thank you.